Am I the asshole for telling my travel friends they can leave the group but I'll be staying? I, 28F, have been backpacking through Southeast Asia for a few months now, and specifically Thailand for the last month or so. At the beginning of the Thailand part of my trip, I met 2 other solo travelers in my hostel who seemed like good vibes, and we all ended up sticking together as a trio for the next few weeks. However, as time went on, it turns out they have a bit of a different travel style to me, and are both quite type of people, where I'm much more go with the flow. I didn't think it was a problem, I just let them make the plans cause they cared more than I did, and I just vibed along for the ride. I do also have a tendency to be a bit disorganized and late to things, but never more than 5-10 minutes. Also, in all honesty, who really cares if we leave the hostel 5 minutes later than agreed for dinner or going to the beach? We're chilling in a fun place with fun people either way. Anyway, I thought we were all getting along well, and over the last couple weeks we've added 4 more people to our little team. That was until yesterday, when the original 2 sat me down and told me they don't want to travel with me anymore because it's irritating that I never contribute to plans and am often late. I told them that I would have been happy to compromise if I knew they were upset, and that I genuinely thought me not contributing to plans was making everything go smoother because I really don't care much what we do, so this way the team only has to balance 2 people's sometimes conflicting wants. Regardless, if that's how they felt, I told them that it's sad but it's cool and I won't take it personally if they go do their own thing. This is where the conflict comes in. They told me that they really like the group dynamic with the other 4 people we found, so they'd prefer if I was the one to leave, and that it was more fair that way because there are 2 of them and 1 of me. I told them I like traveling with the others too, and they're the ones with an issue, not me, so I won't be doing that. TLDR. 2 out of 6 of my travel group don't want to travel with me anymore, so they're trying to kick me out of the group. I told them to shove it and they should be the ones to leave if they're that bothered. So, am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Easy fix. Check in with the other new people and see if they feel the same way as your type A's. If yes, no drama, bounce and find more chill people. If not, your former travel buddies can be the ones to move along. To be honest though, I doubt it's about you or your behavior. They could just be looking to even out numbers, either for sexy reasons or simply for logistics. For some reason 7 people are harder to make plans for than 6 people. Traveling is built for even numbers, and often places refuse to accommodate an extra person. I say this as I just spent a month traveling as a 3 nearly everywhere was like, nope. 2 or 4 please. I've been in their position, having a random tag along and not contribute ideas or inspiration about what to do is a drag. This is not a hard one. You 3, you and 2 as, have one last meal together with the whole gang. Be honest with them and let them choose. So, 2 as and I have decided our personalities aren't really meshing. After this accommodation block we are going to go separate ways. We all love the group vibe and none of us want to lose you as a group. So, from here, my next step is, describe your next planned location. As we'll tell you what they are thinking. Tomorrow, no pressure, but would you mind letting all 3 of us know if you want to come with me, or them, or strike out alone? No assholes here so long as you communicate with the others. Type of people care if someone is regularly 5-10 minutes late, especially if they're the ones who put in the time and effort to make the plans. So you're the asshole there. With that said, it's up to the 4 other people who they'd like to travel with, so they're the ass for trying to kick you out of the group. You are the asshole. Being constantly late is inconsiderate to other people, because you don't plan anything. You also don't know the effort they might or might not have put in, e.g. bus times, attraction times. I think there's probably a lot more going on here that your post doesn't mention. Did 10 minutes ever become 30 minutes late? Did you almost miss something because you turned up late? Either way, these are basically random people. You can meet more. Oh my gosh, definitely not the asshole. I am also currently traveling in Southeast Asia. I met a group of friends I was traveling with. We all had different personalities and worked things out as needed. These people suck. Why the formal meeting to get you voted off the island? This isn't Survivor. They're doing you a favor. Enjoy your solo travels, you'll meet new people along the way. You couldn't pay me to travel with such snooty people. I've met up with several friends on this trip and we've eventually gone our separate ways before conflict could arise. Trust yourself. I am currently loving being alone. Skip them. Am I the asshole for leaving dinner with my parents after they called my girlfriend disgusting? Hi, I've been a lurker for a bit on this account, but I now have a situation I need to know if I'm wrong about. So, I, 32F, have been dating my girlfriend I'll call Ruby, 48F, for around 10 months. Yes, I'm well aware of our age gap. I'm a fully grown woman. I can make my own choices. Ruby treats me well, and she's been the first in a long string of shitty exes to do so. She is honestly an absolute angel. For some context, me and my parents, 67F and 65M, have never been close, as they honestly didn't really give a shit about me when I was a kid. I was always being handed off to nannies and ignored when I would try to play with them. They would always leave me behind with said nannies when they went on business trips and vacations, and then when I got older, they would just leave me all alone. It was a shitty way to grow up, but I've moved on from it. I can't let my childhood define my entire life. Once I moved out, we rarely talked besides holidays and birthdays. Anyways, in the past couple years, my parents have started reaching out more and trying to connect. I was a little weary at first, as I thought maybe they wanted something from me, but after feeling them out for a bit, I think they just feel bad for how they ignored me when I was young. I slowly started letting them into my life, and a few months ago, told them about Ruby. They immediately jumped into telling me how I'm too young to be dating someone so old and so on and so forth. I shut that down immediately. I told them they don't get to say stuff like that to me, ever. They can support me after all the stuff they pulled, or go away. That seemed to shut them up. Fast forward to last night, me, Ruby, and my parents all had dinner together. It was their first time meeting her. It was going smoothly up until Ruby pecked me on the lips before going to the bathroom. The second she was out of earshot, my mom just blurted out something like, "I can't exactly remember, Ruby absolutely disgusts us. She's disgusting." I didn't say anything, but I was just so stunned as they both started trying to explain that they can't accept this relationship or some bullshit. I barely remember, all I could hear was static. I flagged down our waitress, told my parents that we're leaving, and paid the bill as we all sat in awkward silence. I guess they didn't want to embarrass themselves in front of the waitress? I don't even know. By then Ruby was back, and she was totally confused. I explained everything in the cab home, and I honestly started tearing up a bit. I was finally starting to think I actually had parents, but then they go and say shit like that. Ruby was pretty shocked and comforted me. Now, my parents have been calling and texting me, scolding me for leaving like that, and saying that they just want me to date someone right for me. They even looped a couple aunts and uncles in, who never even really gave a damn about me ever, and have them telling me to answer my parents and apologize. Just need to know, was I wrong? Not the asshole. While the age gap is significant and you should keep your eyes open for any red flags, particularly when you have a history of dating the wrong people. You are a grown person who can make your own decisions. It's one thing to be concerned about you, but your parents crossed a major line by insulting your girlfriend when they were already on shaky ground. They said something that can never be unsaid. Are you sure this isn't more about you being in a lesbian relationship than the age gap? If they were truly concerned about her age, that was a strange way to address it. I have a theory about this situation. Your parents didn't want you back in your life because they felt bad. They are aging. They are probably thinking they will need a caregiver in their old age, so they hunted you down. But they found out you were dating someone and that person will be your priority. There's nothing disgusting about Ruby or your relationship. You met as adults. That's the criteria for age gap relationships. No one got groomed. You are simply two adults consenting to an adult relationship. I may be wrong with my theory, but something tells me there's way more to this reconciliation attempt than they wanted you to know. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Your parents spent years emotionally ghosting you, then wanna waltz back in and trash the first person who actually treats you right. Nah, that's peak audacity, skull. You didn't overreact, you protected your peace and your partner. Their disgust says way more about their shitty priorities than your relationship. They had a chance to rebuild trust and blew it by pulling the same toxic crap. Now they're weaponizing family to guilt you? Classic manipulation playbook. Location flag. Ruby sounds like a keeper. Your parents? Not so much. Keep those boundaries steel reinforced. You owe them nothing, not an apology, not your time, not a single tear. Focus on the family you're choosing, not the one that failed you. Not the asshole. I'm usually the first to say something about a major age gap, but that's when the youngest person is younger. Once you hit 30, I don't think it's a big deal to date someone in their 40s, but it's odd for someone in their 30s to date someone in their early 20s. It's more about the ratio of life than the actual years in the gap. And I feel it's kind of rare, but even some age gaps where the younger person is in their early 20s that do turn out healthy. Not the asshole. You and your girlfriend are both fully formed adults. There's nothing inherently untoward about that age gap at this point in your lives. You don't owe anyone an explanation on that. It seems like your parents are wanting to play house with you now that you're an adult, since they didn't do it when you were younger. You're not a teenager for them to worry over, and they're entitled to living out their parental fantasies with you now when they willfully excluded themselves from that then. Age gap doesn't matter if y'all met as grown-ass adults. It'd be weird if Ruby picked you up at 17 or 18, but I imagine that isn't the case. Not the asshole. These people forfeited their right to be your parents ages ago. Don't bother caring about their opinion on someone who earned the right to be your family. Am I the asshole for giving the cops my cousin's contact details and yelling at my mom? I'm at 24F. My mom, who's 50, has always been extremely close with her sister. Growing up, I always felt like she gave more love and attention to her sister and her kids than to me. It hurt, but I stayed quiet and focused on my own life. Thankfully, my dad has always been supportive and on my side. Recently, I found out that my cousin, same age as me, my mom's sister's son, somehow used my permanent address on his government ID. I had no idea until the police showed up at my door asking for him. They told me he's been involved in a money laundering case worth over $10 million. His girlfriend and father were involved too. Apparently, they sold the same flat to multiple people. I was shocked and anxious, but I told the truth. I said he's my cousin, he doesn't live with me, and I didn't know anything about this. They asked if I was in contact with him, and I said no. Then I gave them my aunt's number and showed proof that I live alone. They left after confirming my statement. An hour later, my mom called me angrily, saying I was stupid for giving the cops the number and that I should have stalled them instead. She told me family should stick together and called me ungrateful and stupid. I lost it. I told her she was being ridiculous and that I'm not going to protect anyone involved in a crime. I also said that if she lands in trouble because of this, I won't help her. Then I blocked her number. Now, some extended family members are saying I overreacted and should have protected my cousin. My dad is supportive and said he's going to talk to mom. But I honestly feel like I did what anyone would do in my position to protect themselves. Am I losing my mind? Not the asshole. Absolutely not. You did the exact right thing. How would you have stalled them? Did your mom forget that you aren't a member of the Gambino crime family and don't have a series of tricks to shake the police? Ask her for examples of how she would have stalled them. Besides which, your mom should be furious that he put your address down and even involved you in his mess. I'd take a break from her and everyone giving you grief about this. These people do not have your best interest in mind. Not the asshole. You did the exact right thing. If the allegations are true, your cousin and your uncle are felons, and if you had lied to the police, you could have been criminally charged as well. Your first duty is to your own well-being, and your cousin was wrong to use your address on his ID. I'm sorry your mother doesn't seem to value you properly, but somehow she managed to raise a kid with a sense of right and wrong which her sister obviously failed to do. Hell no. There's a certain amount of mind your own business that could be employed when family members are involved in illegal activity, but that went out of the window the very second he used your address. He involved you, you didn't insert yourself. Not the asshole 100%. Called me ungrateful and stupid. What the fuck were you supposed to be grateful for? Getting blindsided by cops at your house looking for a crook who doesn't live there? Having been endangered by your cousin using your address without your knowledge or permission while up to his eyeballs in shady shit? You were supposed to risk getting charged with obstruction or investigated as a potential accomplice because family sticks together. Absolutely not. Not the asshole. The fact that he used your address makes me suspicious. Have you checked your credit score lately? Might be a good idea, seeing as your cousin may be involved in other financial crimes. Not the asshole. Not the asshole that was a CYA moment because if you cover for him when he gets caught you will be standing next to him in the courtroom. Am I the asshole for having my parents watch our son instead of my mill? My husband's birthday was this past Saturday, and a few weeks ago we asked my mother-in-law if she could watch our infant son overnight so we could have a kid-free celebration. She agreed, and the plan was that she would come pick him up from our house. She lives just under an hour away. Based on that, we planned the whole day, lunch with friends, a movie, and dinner at 7. Thursday night at 8 p.m., she calls and asks what time we're dropping him off. We were confused and told her we thought she was picking him up, as originally discussed. She then tells us she's been having car issues and didn't think we'd be comfortable with her driving the baby. We totally understand that. If her car isn't reliable, it's a valid concern. But by then, our weekend was already booked around the original arrangement. We explained we didn't have time in our day to make the drive. So we called my parents, who lived the same distance away, and they were happy to help. They picked him up so we could still celebrate. My husband told his mom not to worry and that she could watch him another weekend when her car was fixed. She was furious and hasn't spoken to us since. She said we were being dramatic, and we get the feeling she's mostly mad at me. She was already upset that I answered my husband's phone. He was right there, just busy, and she was on speaker the whole time. She tends to guilt trip and emotionally manipulate, and she already believes we favor my parents because they see our son more often. But the reality is, both sides have equal opportunities. My parents are just more available and willing to help when we need it. We weren't trying to be rude or exclude her. We just needed a solution that let us stick to plans we'd made weeks ago. Am I the asshole for not driving our son out and instead asking my parents for help? Not the asshole. You didn't do anything wrong. You needed someone to pick up your baby and take them. She could no longer do that and waited until the last minute to tell you. It's crazy how people want you to facilitate their relationships with a baby. Most of my family will go months without seeing my son and then call my sister a baby hog when the two of them have a good relationship because she actually makes an effort to show up. Not the asshole. Time for husband to step up here and tell her she's not reliable, so if she wants to see son more often she needs to improve. My mother-in-law lives about a 10 mile drive from me, less than 2 minutes if she's in our local town, which she is, almost every day. She complains to my partner that she doesn't see our baby enough. I'm operating around a toddler sleep, eat, scream schedule and I don't plan trips unless absolutely necessary, and I cannot bring myself to put her in the car for 10 minutes knowing she will fall asleep for the last 2 and then refuse to nap later. Mother-in-law still thinks I'm the one who should make the effort. Not the asshole. I'll bet money she isn't actually having car troubles. If she was, she would have apologized or at least told you that instead of trying to gaslight you into believing you guys agreed to drop off and pick up your baby. She was too lazy to make the commute, and it bit her in the ass. Fafo man shrugging. Not the asshole. If she agreed to pick him up from your house and neglected to tell you that she was unable to pick him up, what else were you supposed to do? You planned your weekend on the basis that she would be collecting your son. Why should you have to change your plans to drop your son off, when that was not agreed? I am curious about one thing you mentioned. You said that both parents have the same opportunities to see your infant, but is it a case of seeing him in order to watch him on your behalf or seeing him during a visit? The reason I ask is because I had a similar experience. Parents can be difficult when it comes to their grandchildren, especially when they have reason to believe one set is being given preferential treatment. There are definitely more mature ways to go about it, but it might be something worth addressing with her. It could actually improve your relationship if you let her say her perspective. What would have happened if she needed something or something went wrong with baby? A working car is necessary when caring for another person's baby overnight, and she waited until Thursday to tell you she changed the plan's NTA.